Welcome back everyone. So let's start creating our backend now. So in order to start, we need to write backend over here and our backend folder will be created. Now this terminal will be used for our front-end application, and in order to run the commands for the backend, I will start a cmd command prompt. I need to navigate to the desktop, and in the desktop I have go full stack named folder. Within that folder I have backend, and within that backend folder I need to create a file or initialize git repository rather. So I will write git init to initialize our git repository. Once it is initialized, I need to write another command, that is notepad.git ignore, and yes, and I will write over here that node underscore modules should not be included into our git. Save it, close it, and by doing so you would see that in our VS Code git ignore file has been created. Returning back to our command prompt, I need to write now npm for node package manager and initialize our package, and our package name will be backend, version will be 1.0.0, a small description. So I'll write our first MERN project, and entry point is, let's say, server.js. This is the file that I will be creating in a while, and for the rest of the properties press enter, and finally to confirm it press enter again. You would see that our package.json file is created with all the descriptions that we have provided right now. So now it's time to create our server.js file. So I'll create our first simple server.js, and let's say, what if I write console.log this information, sorry for the mistakes, information is coming from server, like this. And if I save it, how about I run the server.js file? In order to run this file I need to write node and then the file name, that is server.js, and you would see the answer in here. So every console information is returned over here. Pretty good so far. So now let's write our server so that we can send the request from the browser, and then our server could respond to that request. So in order to create that thing, I need to initialize an HTTP, and with the require function, let's require this package of HTTP. So this HTTP package is already available, so I do not need to include it within the package.json file. And once it is started or it is required within the server.js file, I can finally create my server. So I'll write const server equals to HTTP, and on HTTP I will create a server, and within the server, using the arrow function, I can generate or initiate the commands on requests as well as the responses. So in order to provide an initial response, I could write response.end to generate a response for a request from the browser. I can say that your request received, and here is our response. So this is the response that our server should be generating when a request is activated from the browser, and the server should be listening on to some port, and I would say that okay, server dot listen 3000, but this 3000 is a hard-coded case. So when you deploy your application onto any other server, it is not necessary that that server should be running on 3000 as well. So I will write that whether it is a 3000, either it is a 3000 or it is process.env.port. So either it's this port or the 3000. This is where the server should be listening, and this is it. So let's start our node. In order to start the node, I will write the same command once again. So I will press an up arrow key, enter. So cursor is not returned back, it is still there, which means that our server is started. Now it's time to run the command. So I'll write 127 and the port number is 3000, and there you go, your response is received. So your request received, and here is our response. Now what if I change something in here? Okay, so your request is received. Now this is the only thing that our server should be responding with, and now if I reload it, you won't see any changes. The reason is our server is still in the previous stage, so it has not restarted. I have to manually close the server and restart it again. So Control C, and once again run the command, and now there it is, our response. So that is a bit troublesome, because during the coding we will be running the server again and again and again, and manually starting and restarting or closing and restarting the server could be troublesome. So in order to resolve this issue, let's install another package. So I'll clear this screen for now. Let's CLS and write a command that is npm install globally NodeJS, and enter. Superb, our NodeJS has been installed. Now what if I write NodeJS instead of just node and run our server file? Okay, and now if I make some changes into our code, let's say now from NodeJS, and let's reload it. There it is. What if I change a few more things? Now it is starting by itself. Let's come to our browser, and there it is. So our response is being generated without me restarting the server manually. So all the starting and restarting of the server is being handled by NodeJS itself. So this was it for today. See you in the next class.